The Zephyrian Empire had ruled the galaxy for 3 millennia, their crystalline ships casting shadows across 1,000 worlds. They had broken countless species, reduced proud civilizations to servitude with their advanced technology and ruthless efficiency. But they had never encountered humanity. Commander Sarah Chen floated in the biosuspension chamber, her consciousness drifting between torture sessions. The Zephyrians had captured her during humanity's first deep space exploration mission. 3 years ago, they thought one human would be enough to understand the species that had just discovered faster-than-light travel. They were catastrophically wrong. Admiral Vextar observed the human through the chamber's transparent aluminum walls. The creature's resilience baffled him. Most species broke within days under their neural disruptors. The humans had lasted 3 years, and her defiance had only grown stronger. Increase the neural cascade to level 9, Vextar commanded his technician. Admiral, that level has killed every previous test subject, the technician warned, his gill slits fluttering nervously. Do it. The chamber hummed with malevolent energy. Chen's body convulsed as artificial lightning coursed through her nervous system, but her eyes remained defiant. When the torture ended, she lifted her head and smiled. "Is that all you've got?" she whispered, blood trickling from her nose. Vextar's crystalline features darkened. In 3 millennia, no prisoner had ever maintained such resistance. The human psychological profile made no sense. According to their calculations, her species should have surrendered their homeworld the moment they learned of her capture. Instead, Earth had gone silent. What the Zephyrians didn't know was that humanity had a gift the galaxy had never seen before. They learned from their enemies' mistakes. Every torture session was being broadcast through Chen's neural implant, a piece of technology so primitive the Zephyrians had dismissed it as biological waste. But humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology. It was their ability to adapt, to turn weakness into weapons. Dr. Marcus Webb stood in the command center of humanity's first dreadnought, Vindication, watching the data stream from Chen's implant. Every neural pattern, every energy signature, every technological specification of Zephyrian equipment was being analyzed and reverse-engineered by Earth's greatest minds. "We have enough," Webb announced to Admiral Rodriguez. "Sarah's sacrifice has given us everything we need." "Then it's time to bring her home," Rodriguez replied, his jaw set with determination. The Zephyrian patrol fleet detected the human ships approaching the prison facility and laughed. 7 crewed vessels against the might of their fortress world. It would be a massacre. They were right about the massacre part. The Vindication and her sister ships didn't rely on advanced technology. They relied on something far more dangerous: human ingenuity powered by righteous fury. Where the Zephyrians had energy shields, humans had kinetic penetrators moving at 90% light speed. Where the Zephyrians had plasma cannons, humans had weaponized quantum entanglement, turning the enemy's own technology against them. But the real weapon was something no alien species had ever encountered: human pack bonding. The rescue of Sarah Chen wasn't just a military operation. It was a promise kept. Every human on every ship fought not for territory or resources, but for one of their own. The Zephyrians, who had spent millennia conquering through fear and technological superiority, had no answer for an enemy motivated by love. The prison facility's shields collapsed within minutes. Zephyrian ships exploded in brilliant flashes as human weaponry, designed specifically to counter their technology, tore through their formations. The empire that had seemed invincible crumbled like crystalline glass under a hammer. Chen felt the biosuspension chamber power down as rescue teams breached the facility. Through her neural implant, she could hear Webb's voice. "Sarah, we're coming, hold on." When the chamber opened, she saw faces she recognized: friends, colleagues, people who had risked everything to find her. But she also saw something else, in their eyes: the cold fury of a species that had been underestimated. "How many?" she asked weakly. "Every ship in their patrol fleet," replied Lieutenant Morrison, helping her from the chamber. "And Sarah, this is just the beginning." The Zephyrian Empire's greatest mistake hadn't been capturing a human. It had been assuming that humans were like every other species they had conquered. They had expected Earth to surrender when faced with superior technology. Instead, humanity had done what they always did when confronted with an impossible challenge. They adapted, improvised, and overcame. Within 6 months, human fleets appeared in every corner of Zephyrian space. They liberated enslaved worlds, destroyed military installations, and offered something the galaxy hadn't seen in 3 millennia: hope. Species that had been oppressed for generations rallied to humanity's banner, not because they feared human conquest, but because they recognized something familiar in human determination. Vextar stood on the bridge of his flagship as Earth's fleet approached his homeworld. He had finally understood his enemy's true nature, but the knowledge had come too late. Humans didn't just fight for victory, they fought for each other, and that made them unstoppable. "Admiral," his communications officer announced, "the humans are transmitting." Sarah Chen's face appeared on the view screen, now wearing the uniform of Earth's Navy. The scars from her captivity were still visible, but her eyes burned with purpose. "Admiral Vextar," she said, her voice carrying across the void. "You tried to break one human to intimidate our species. Instead, you taught us who we're fighting. Surrender now, and your people will be treated with the mercy you never showed your prisoners." Vextar looked at his broken fleet, at the rebellious worlds declaring independence across his empire, at the human ships that had appeared seemingly from nowhere to challenge his people's ancient dominance. The galaxy had indeed tried to break one human prisoner. They had succeeded only in awakening humanity's wrath. And now, the Zephyrian Empire would learn what every human child knew from birth: you never leave family behind. End.